I love vintage cameras, but some of the cameras that have been made in the 50s and 60s, they don't really have instruction manuals available even online. One of the cameras I'm working with today, the Mamiya Press View camera, is set up as a 6x9. I got this camera on eBay. It was very inexpensive and in great shape, and takes 2 1/4 film and creates a 6x9 centimeter image. Fantastic. There are thumb screws on the camera that allow you to remove the back and replace it with a different back if that's what you need to do. That way you can see inside the camera. It's quite a large space, and that's the film. It actually comes with a dark slide that you remove when it's time to take pictures. So the question I had when I first received this was, how do I load the film? The purpose of today's video is to show you how to do that. There are latches on each side of this back. When they're pulled out, the back can open. As with any 2 1/4 film, there is a take-up reel that is left behind by the previous roll of film. There are thumb locks right here. You open it, pull it to one side, and it stays open. I can then take this spool out, open the thumb lock on the side over here, and put the spool on this side. Twist it to release it, put it in place, and then I'm ready for my 2 1/4 film. 2 1/4 film always comes with a paper strap holding it together. It's important that that strap be removed all the way so that little bits of paper don't fall into the camera and block your exposure. Okay, it has happened. The film goes on the right side, fit it in right here, put it down in place, and allow this little extender to tighten up. Now, you're supposed to take this over here and put it in the slot and start winding it in place. Here's where the complication comes. These old cameras have little quirks, and this one is that if I move this little latch right here, it starts to take up. So I need to find out. That arrow, as I move this, is starting to move. Okay, as I roll through every one of my numbers, it locks at number 1. I unlock it and move it to number 2, and so on until I get through format. So I'll go through all 8 exposures. Now I'm on number 8. I hit the release button and start cranking, and when the arrow gets there, it stops and allows me to use the take-up as long as I want. It won't change until I hit the locking button right there one more time. Move it, and then it'll start to move around to the first exposure. That allows me to now take my paper covering and protecting the 120 film, stick it in the slot, and take it up on the other side. The arrow shouldn't be moving. Okay, right there's the arrow, and as I get the film in position, we want the arrow to stay there and not move. All right, as you can see, there's an arrow here coming into sight, and that arrow has to go into position right here. There's an arrow on both sides indicating how far to advance the film before it's time to stop. Close the back, latch it on both sides, flick the take-up release, and start advancing towards number 1. And as you can see, here are the numbers, and it's beginning to advance the paper so that the film will be dragged across the opening and be exactly in the right position. Lock. I can now take an exposure or many exposures, and when I'm ready to advance to the next frame, I simply move the lock button and advance to the next frame, and it'll relock itself when it gets to frame 2. That's how you load it.